Have you ever come up against an obstacle in your life and it seemed like it was bigger than you? And as a result of that, fear captured your mind. And fear said, you better not try it. You can't do it. It won't work. We all deal with obstacles, hindrances, and mountains during the course of our lives. And as a result of it, we have to find a way to get around it, conquer it, defeat it, and overcome it. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight, Saturday Night Edition. The topic of discussion this evening is entitled Against All Odds. Once again, tonight's topic of discussion, against all odds. When we start coming up against obstacles that are bigger than us and that are larger than us, oftentimes we become afraid. And when we become afraid, it seems like it's impossible to conquer them. Well, that is not true. Anyone who has achieved any type of success during the course of their lives, they have found out that in order to achieve it, they have to believe that they can overcome it. And one of the main things I would love to see individuals do, including myself, to achieve your goals. Don't allow your goals, your plans, and the predestinated purpose that you were born for on this planet. Don't allow them to go undiscovered. Yes, you can do this. Against all odds, you can excel. Against all odds, you can achieve. This is not just some whimsical conversation that I'm having here on tonight. I'm talking, and I want to be able to talk to, and I know I'm talking to people who are broken, shattered, left alone. Individuals who have gone through horrendous experiences, and it seems like nobody cares, nobody loves you, nobody understands that you're in it all by yourself. No, you're not. You're not in it all by yourself. You are not alone. You're not alone in your struggle. You're not alone in your pain. You're not alone in your experiences. You're not alone in the disappointments that you are facing in your life. We've all been through them. No matter who we are, what we are, where we come from. We've all had times, moments, when we felt like giving up, we felt like throwing in the towel. Have you ever noticed that individuals who go into any branch of the armed services, what's the first thing they have to endure? It's called basic training, where they are taught the fundamentals of war and the fundamentals of survival. Why? Because they're going to be facing an enemy that they've never faced before. And in order to face an unseen enemy, you must know how to prepare for this enemy. And now there's another type of enemy. It's the enemy of the mind that is constantly trying to find a way to conquer our minds. Our minds are our greatest assets. It is with the mind that we think, reason, achieve. It is with our minds that our plans and visions and dreams and hopes and goals, that they begin to be formulated in our minds. According to scripture, there was a war going on in the nation of Israel. And there was a king by the name of King Saul. And he came up against the king of the Philistines. And they had a champion. His name was Goliath. He stood over 9 feet tall, probably about 9 feet 8 inches tall. That's just me speaking. I don't know how tall Goliath was. And as a result of that, his height alone struck fear into the Israeli army. And the king promised anyone who could defeat Goliath, riches, wealth, untold, and also his daughter's hand in marriage. No one could take the offer because they were afraid to come up against Goliath. But there was a young man who heard about the king's offer. His name was David. David was a tender of the sheep. and it was his job to protect them from any enemy that would try to devour them. He was a shepherd. He came and stood before the king and told the king he would go and he would fight the battle on behalf of the king. David was young and they laughed at him because David was not a man of war like his brothers were. And the king thought about it. Maybe he thought it was an amusing thing. I don't know. They decided to send young David into battle. All David had was some stones and a slingshot. That's all. And when he came up against Goliath, Goliath laughed. How many of you have been laughed at? They've laughed at you and told you that you can't succeed. They have laughed and told you that you would never amount to anything. They've laughed and said that your dreams, your plans, goals, and purposes for your life, they could never happen. Let them laugh. The best thing that you can do is not to disclose your plans, your dreams, your visions, or your purposes to anybody. Keep them to yourself. And especially, unless you have a close-knit family, one that's full of faith and encouragement and hope, and that will cheer you on and that will be with you, don't even tell them about it. Because the dream crushers will come around. The doubt peddlers will come around. The fear spreaders will begin to tell you what you cannot do. Isn't it unamazing how people can always tell you what you cannot do, what you cannot be, do, and have? They'll tell you what is unachievable. Why? Because they failed to achieve anything during the prime of their lives. Against all odds, you can succeed. Young David went into battle. And as he went into battle coming up against Goliath, Goliath blasphemed his God, Yahweh. And David didn't like it very much. He said, you come against me with a staff, a sword, and a shield. But I come against you in the name, who? Of the Lord of hosts, whose name that you have defiled, who? The living God. And young David, he took his slingshot and took one of the stones. It wasn't the stone that killed Goliath. It was the force behind the stone. That's what propelled the stone to go and to sink into the forehead of Goliath. And it ultimately killed him. Then David took Goliath's sword and he decapitated him with it. Against all odds, you can come out of poverty. Against all odds, you can excel. Against all odds, you can rise up in life, to be, to do, and to have. Whatever your call, whatever your profession, whatever it is that you desire, what is it that you desire? You can have health, happiness, success, prosperity, love, joy, and money. Eternal life. You can have it all. I can have it all. But you can't let people stop you. You can't let individuals tell you that it's unachievable. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot cause a mountain, an obstacle, a blockade, a hindrance to be moved out of your life. You're only defeated and you're only crushed as long as you start listening to the wrong people. Don't ask people their opinions, because their opinions will not measure up to the faith that you have. Stop looking to people for approval. Yes, this is real. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever your lot is in life, wherever you come from, whatever city, town, country, nation, look deep, introspectively, on the inside of yourself and begin to ask yourself this question. Am I allowing people to stop me? Am I allowing fear, unbelief to stop me? Am I a procrastinator? Am I slow at making a definite decision? Because if you don't make a definite decision for your life, you'll never be able to achieve anything. The first step towards success is make a decision. Make a decision that against all odds, you're going to become that doctor, lawyer, professor, teacher, singer, choreographer, dancer, writer, poet, activist, or even if you desire to be a spiritual leader or a politician. Against all odds, you can overcome any handicap. Against all odds, you can rise up out of your environmental surroundings. Don't you know you can come from the most metropolis place on earth and end up in poverty? It's not how you start the race, it's how you finish the race. A lot of people start out with so much in life, but they're willing to contribute so little. And as a result of that, they have found that if you don't give, you cannot receive. Your gifts, your talents, your abilities, that is divinely given to you and to I to use for the greater good. This voice of inspiration and motivation is for good. Yes, you can. No, I'm not Barack Obama, so I'll just say yes, you can one time. But I want you to know that against all odds, you can rise up. Against all odds, you can succeed in whatever it is that you desire to be, to do, and to have. And whatever you do, don't tell yourself that you can't succeed. I didn't say it was going to be easy. There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be hindrances. There are going to be blockades. There are going to be people who have voices of dissent, discouragement. But you know what? Look deep down on the inside of you and find out what it is that you're made of. Find out what it is that you have, that you know that will work, and then use it. Be a researcher. Be a studier. Get a copy of the book entitled The Art of War and study it by Sun Tzu. And you'll find out that as you study Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, these things are going to change your life forever. They've changed mine. I can attest to it because I'm a studier. As long as I'm alive, I will forever be a student, and I'm learning from the masters who have come before me. Oh yes, the greatest minds that have ever lived. You know, I'm beginning to start reading a lot of poetry. Why? Because I want to know what was in the minds of Walt Whitman and so many others. You can have it all. What do you desire to be, to do, and to have? Against all odds, yes, I'm talking to you, not at you. I'm talking to you. Against all odds, you can succeed. Against all odds, you can overcome anything. Against all odds, you can be blessed and you can be prosperous. Against all odds, you can prevail, even in the midst of the darkness, in the midst of the heartache and heartbreak, in the midst of the pain, in the midst of the rejection, in the midst of what it takes. Can I tell you something that most people don't know? You already have what it takes to be a winner in the game of life. All you have to do is find out the rules of engagement and learn how to play this game like it's nobody else's business. Because if you concentrate on all the negative things that are going on in society, you'll never succeed. You'll never conquer. You'll never be blessed. And I want you to know that against all odds, you can prevail. Against all odds, you can overcome. That's why I love reading biographies and autobiographies. I love listening to audiobooks so I can learn from those who have come before me. I don't have to invent the wheel in order to drive the car. It's already been invented. All I have to do is understand and know how this game of life works. And I made up in my mind, and I've purposed in my heart to be here, to be able to inspire and to motivate each and every one of you. And never forget this: never surrender, never quit.